Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you guys are viewing this Global Nerds podcast. I am your host, Darrell, joined by Ty, Mark, Crispy, and our special guest, the music genius himself, man, Mr. Ron. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Feeling
Pretty good.
fantastic, man.
Oh, come on,
Out
be
here
more
in LA.
enthusiastic than that.
We in LA, man. You know, it's doom and gloom out here.
I know, doom and gloom and rain and pain.
That's
Slip
it.
and
That's it.
slide.
Man, we appreciate you being here and joining us today, especially with a whole bunch of news coming out about Power Rangers because, I was
Yeah.
introduced to you through Power Rangers music. So how do you feel about Power Rangers technically almost coming to an end and all that? Like, how do you feel about it?
Uh, for me it was nice to get called back. I was shocked when they did it. It
Mm.
was I think it was last July when they contacted me, June or July. And I just said, yeah, hell yeah, I'm in. And then just kept waiting for it to show up. I got it around December 12th
Okay.
and then worked on it 5 weeks straight. I took off Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, but just blasted through day and night on it because it's a very different beast than the old days.
Yeah.
Dude, that's some
Tonally,
build up.
it is.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
very different.
So do you feel it's more rewarding to score this project than it was the past Power Ranger seasons because it's not so episodic. It's more of like a film or a conclusion.
Yeah. I mean, if it's only this one, and if that's it, then it's kind of cool. It's come full circle for me.
Mm.
So to be there at the beginning and possibly at the end, but who knows when it'll end? As long as that franchise keeps generating cash.
Revenue.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't mean that's not how I look at things, but I mean that's really what it comes down to. It's the
Hmm.
bean counters always. But it was super fun to do. It was really fun. It was great to pull up those guitar sounds and get them even a little punchier and get
Uh,
and it was complicated.
Yeah.
It's like for a slightly older audience, and it's got a lot of depth. It's very different than it ever was.
okay. You're like
Yeah,
the third person to say that specifically that you can't say it, out in the open. So I'm super
yeah,
excited that it's aging up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that could be a whole new market for it, possibly. I
Hmm.
mean, it's not for
Okay.
they're not aiming at 20 to 40-year-olds like Marvel, but they're definitely up their game here quite a bit.
Yeah. It's about time for Power Ranger to evolve to a slightly older audience. I don't want to see it as like John Wick, but more serious tones, I guess. I would want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, like if you remember, I'd done a trailer for something called Shattered Grid
Yep.
that was really, and that was a direction that I certainly felt the show should start going. Yeah. So maybe, who knows?
Future
It,
holds. I
yeah.
mean, if you guys, you got to step out for Netflix and watching and support it.
Yeah,
You got to, yeah.
Oh,
So
definitely.
so we should expect something like darker and edgier from the opening and what's coming in general, right?
yeah,
Sweet.
yeah, but not terribly dark.
Okay, that's
I
good.
mean, I don't even think I'm not even sure if it would be if Power Rangers was always G, then this might be PG, but it wouldn't be PG-13.
Right. The
Okay.
films are like PG-13.
Yeah, but if it hopefully it gets punched up to I don't know what constitutes all those ratings, but hopefully it gets punched up sometime if they do more to a R.
There's the days. That's the dream.
Hey, Netflix love rated R, so we may get it in the future, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
It's
that'll
it's
be interesting.
yeah, it's nice to know that at least Power Rangers is still going to have the heart that's always made it special.
Yeah.
Oh, it absolutely has that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's plenty of that. It's not too far. It's just far enough. They did a great job. The writers did a great job.
Sweet.
I'm kind of curious because obviously you've said that it's a lot more mature type thing right now. Was that your decision, or did Hasbro say, "Hey, just make it a little bit more edgier, a bit more darker for us, please"? Or did they just go, "You have full creative control. You do what you want to do"?
They had temped in a score for parts of it, which were really, as the producer and I agreed, about half of what they temped in was as appropriate as you could be, just finding a piece of music and dropping it in. So it was good for that. And then I remember we had about a 3-hour meeting and made 6 or 8 pages of notes of what he was looking for where.
Yeah.
So, and that was all fine.
Yeah.
And referring to those notes constantly, because I wrote down some of the timings wrong. I'm like, oh shit, did he mean here?
that actually reminds me of a question I was going to ask you. So, I know you've had a long history at Saban, man. Like you've been developing scores, co-writing themes for so many other smaller shows. I know one of the ones you worked on was actually the theme for the animated X-Men series.
Sure.
Love that one, by
Mhm.
the way. That one's iconic.
It's coming back. I can't wait.
Love it. I love it, man. And I know that there was this one day when you were presented with the first footage of the show. When you wrote the theme for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you were just told to use the word "go" and to
That was
have
the
it
only
finish.
instruction. And to be honest with you,
Exactly.
I'm not even sure there was footage. I think there may have been a couple of things they printed out. I don't remember anything. I know I wasn't
Yeah.
looking at anything when I was writing it.
Mm.
So yeah, that was it. And they
Yeah.
said, as always back then, it has to be exactly 1 minute
Yeah.
long with the ring
Oh
out.
man.
And yeah, that was just
Yeah.
lightning struck. It was fast.
And they gave you like till the next day, and you beat that record by getting it done in like what, 2.5 hours?
2.5 hours.
That's
Because I wanted to
crazy.
work on this other track with that I was doing for this band. It wasn't called Fisher at the time, with my ex-wife. And so I wanted to finish this song called Breakable, which ended up being our first way to
Oh,
break
wow.
into the business. It ended up on this film called Great Expectations with Gwyneth Paltrow. I can't remember where it is in the film or if it's end credits. So that was a very productive night because that opened up the door for that whole side adventure.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
So
crazy. You had one word and you produced this mega hit.
Yeah.
it,
Well, they said he'd had, said Haim Saban's had a lot of luck with the word go with Go Gadget Go.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
said,
that
well,
makes perfect sense.
yeah, it works for
If-
you. And now you
if-
hear go everything related to Power Rangers.
if you could hit any future songwriter with a challenging prompt like that, what kind of challenge do you think you'd hit them with?
What, to do a cover of it, or?
Like if you could just give a songwriter one word to base the whole theme song off of, what would it be?
In a
Oh,
1
let me
minute
think.
challenge. I'm gonna take this challenge. I'm gonna take this challenge and have it
All
out
right,
by
so
midnight.
what's the age group? Because that matters. Is it a show like for kids?
Sure.
All right. I have to think of one
Oh, you
word.
gave him a hard one.
Yeah, it is, because it always depends. Because they're always given direction in some way or another. Well, it
Yeah.
wouldn't be go, but go always does work. I have used it on other stuff, but I guess it would be depending on the age group. You'd have to say fun
Fun.
or action, or it's hard. I mean, the word go is so fucking perfect for everything.
It is.
Yeah.
So I'd have to find another word for go. Go faster.
So, jumping off of Chris's
Speed.
question, what's it like creating very mind-blowing, very catchy songs that just get stuck in your head every time you listen to them?
It's been a damn blessing,
Mm.
and I'm damn lucky I can do it. I mean,
Nice.
I'm writing. I still have to finish mixing and producing the track for this video game I'm scoring called The Next World, and it's the creator actually sent me some lyrics,
Mm.
and he goes, "Let's look at them." I said, No, I'll just look at them. I already had iPhone ready to record, and I just looked at it, and just the melodies just there.
Mm.
I see the phrasing, and I hear exactly what to do in the style that they wanted, and that's something I've been very, very strong at.
I want to
That's kind of the
piggyback.
main point. I mean,
Right.
that's my main gift. It isn't tremendous musicianship. It is I'm a great melody writer.
I want to piggyback off of that because being as a creative or music producer myself, which side do you like most? Like, which more enjoyable to you? Is it the production of the track or the mixing and mastering of it? Which one do you enjoy the most?
The production of the track, the mixing is always a uh, nightmare that I struggle with. And you
Okay.
have to, you as you're writing, you're just adding tracks, and you have to decide what to pull out and how to get things out of the way of another sound.
Mm.
And some guys I know, their mixes are just the things they can do are just spectacular. But in a way, I do have a talent for it because I kind of do the old style where everything, it's like a wall of sound.
Okay.
So it does work out really
I
well.
would. I wish you would do a master class because I'll take it because I hate the
Yeah.
mixing and mastering part of it. I send it literally to my distributor and let them handle it. I hate it that much.
Yeah, mixing is, it's something that I've been doing for other people even before. I mean, I was playing in bands, but I also get hired to mix their demos and whatnot. And it was
Mm.
always a constant, especially with the technology when I started.
Mm.
Now, I mean, somebody can be all around the mic up close and everything just balances out.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It made it
And
a
of
lot more
course,
easier.
everybody's pitch is perfect now.
Yeah,
Auto tune.
It's
let us know
flawless.
if that Udemy class ever drops, man. We'll pay for it.
One of these days, though, I will set up, maybe depending on how this thing does, maybe I'll go through like playing each track individually on that theme.
Hmm.
Mm.
I mean, there's no real secrets. So, yeah, that might be kind of fun to do.
It will be. It will
Something
be.
like that. Or how to score something else, get a piece of footage and go
Nice.
through it.
That'd be
I'd
cool.
like to see that, to be fair.
That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
I
Yeah.
think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because it
So
bothers me when people it doesn't bother me, but it bothers me when people like Hans Zimmer are doing his master class on how to score. And he really should just say, so you get the film and you meet with the director and you discuss what to do. And then you send it to the other composer down the hall and say, I'll be back in 2 weeks and give you notes on what you've done for me.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I love the shots.
Yeah.
I actually there's one question I gotta ask. I told a buddy of mine that we were gonna be talking with you today, actually.
Oh,
So this is a question for Smarty. Do you have any copies of unreleased Power Rangers intros or music?
no, I'm afraid I
Uh,
don't because back then, well, originally we were doing everything the 2-inch tape, two machines that would lock. And then you'd mix
Oh.
the mix would go off to either a small digital tape, or when I
uh,
started, we were still putting it off to 1/4-inch tape.
mhm.
So
Oh.
to try to make copies of any of that stuff, there was a person assigned to that to backing things up. But I mean, there was no way I could say, "Can you make me a copy?" He would have said, "Of course I can't. You're not allowed to even have it." Now, I mean, everything's copied and been documented and is
Yeah.
categorized ever since. I mean, I have 128 hard drives, a lot of redundancy, stuff in the cloud. So anything I've pretty much done since 19, maybe 98, we'll put it at, I have backups of. Unfortunately, prior to that, I don't have that stuff.
Well, that just kind of answers why we never got like a full Power Rangers series album out.
Mm,
So
Yeah, that
that
score
would be
is
cool.
locked
yeah.
to picture, and that's all there is to it. That's all that remains. Because somebody, for Shattered Grid, he was trying to find a few pieces of footage here and there that that he could pop into it. And he said that there's no way to separate the tracks. They had to pay somebody to try to get the music away from the dialogue. They're gone. They were gone when Disney bought it. I heard they were intentionally destroyed.
Yeah.
And I think, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't know.
It sounds like it would have been, especially if they wanted to end the Power Rangers during the Disney era.
Yeah.
That's usually what Disney does. They lock it in a vault and we never see it again. But
yeah,
I mean, that just opens up for you to create all the music again.
Oh,
Hasbro, hire him. Come on now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it'd be good to if they keep doing the series. If this gets a spin-off, or not a spin-off, but goes to series or anything else, who knows? Or if they change it up, it's hard to know.
Especially so early. I mean, but if we show up and the numbers are there, fans, non-fans, we have to show up for once and always, because that's the only way we can possibly get more.
Yeah, and if the score gets a lot of traction and comments, then certainly Hasbro will take notice.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe the X-Men '97 people will take notice.
See, I was going to ask that one because obviously with X-Men '97 coming back out, like, were you asked to come back at all, or are they just going to reuse the stuff?
Not a soul. I have not heard a word. I have called people I know that know people at Marvel. It's just zero, zippo, nothing.
Yeah, that's breaking my heart, because is it too early where they would ask you to come in to score the footage?
I think it would be about now if they're thinking about releasing it later this year.
Yeah.
Or was it supposed to be I think it's the beginning of fall of this year. So now would be about the time they would just at least have said, are you interested, or we're interested, or whatever. But I know plenty of people, Disney, but Marvel's running the show on this. So I'm sure it'll be great. And I know they're using the original theme.
Yeah.
So that's nice. So at least they're doing that part. But, they have, that is I think that's a lot more difficult than trying to do a different kind of Power Rangers story, because X-Men is so based on the comic book. And so it's going to be hard to go back in time without it looking completely different. Plus, that stuff was all hand drawn. I mean, it was done in Taiwan. The producers would go off, and I saw a picture once. It's just a room full of women, all dressed in white, just hundreds of them, just animating each cell for that thing, each little drawing.
Wow.
So quite, and now I'm sure it's some guys sitting at home doing stuff on their computer, of course.
It was streamlined and make it more easier, but now it's funny to hear that and know that Marvel and Disney's giving these visual effects artists hell for their movies. I just imagine like 600 people, like, you got 10 minutes to put out this whole scene.
Yeah, and that's a whole different thing. The Hasbro machine was pretty focused. The group working on the show were the ones that made notes when I finished it, and then they wanted a few changes, which were literally I did in a couple hours. It was so minimal, which was great. But the Disney Hasbro machine over something like X-Men is going to probably have 50 people all trying with their comments, and it's going to be a lot more difficult for whoever's working on any part of it.
Right.
Yeah. They have a formidable task ahead of them. Does anybody know how many episodes they're doing?
No.
No idea.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it might be what industry standard at the moment might be. If it does really well, they'll probably greenlight it, or they maybe have already greenlit for a season 2, because most of the time that they just do that, they go like, yeah, it's fine. So it could be maybe 12 to 24 episodes, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
For this plus.
I mean, if we're lucky, they might just go the Netflix route of, okay, here's 10 episodes right here. They're about 45 minutes. Have fun.
That's what I don't want to happen on Disney Plus. The weekly drops. It kind of works for some of their shows like She-Hulk and things like that. But for an animated show, I think it'll work better if it's a whole season drop at once.
I
based
honestly,
on audience.
I honestly think that a weekly drop would be better, at least from a business perspective, because I mean, not only does it keep people attached to the streaming to the platform for longer, but I mean, like even for audiences, I would have a lot of fun just talking about each episode one at a time, week by week, and then having another episode to look forward to talk about then.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just release it at like 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and you're golden.
There you go.
Gotta live the good old days with cereal.
So now we know
I'm
they're going to
sure.
completely screw it up.
Yeah.
They're going to do 4. They'll come out
There you
on the
go.
same
There
day,
you go.
and
Mm-hmm.
then they'll
Maybe.
say, "Shit, we got to do another 20 now,"
Yeah, it'd be like
and it'll
next
be a year and a
year.
half later.
Yeah,
Or
like your
honest,
X-Men fix.
or honest to God, like a good middle ground. It could be like something like what Arcane did. Like they drop 3 episodes at a time, then 3 episodes next week, like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
That
That's
might
good,
work
too.
because I think that's how they do the Prouder Family reboot
Oh,
as
true.
well. Yeah, so and that's animated too around the same runtime.
Hmm.
Interesting.
I'm looking forward to, if I'm not involved at all, I'm super interested to see what they do with the score, because animation is a fucking beast. It is
Oh yeah.
hard.
Oh yeah.
It is hard. And so I hope whoever does it, it just doesn't end up being that constant synth low drone.
Oh. You know
You
it's going to
know.
be for like Wolverine
Oh,
or
yeah.
the Sentinels.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be. Hopefully, it turns out cooler than that. I'm sure
Yeah.
it'll be good.
I mean, I've taken animation classes back in high school, and I know the pain it is to draw every scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't draw. I write and let y'all deal with it.
Yeah, it's much better, wiser.
So with
Got it.
with the X-Men animation special when it comes out, are you ready for the bombardment of tweets saying like, Ron should have done this? Oh, it's not the same without Ron. Are you ready
Yeah,
for those
and
tweets?
now that I'm getting, I'm a little bit more, a little less PC online. Before I'll probably say, damn right I should have, because it would have been a combo of what it was and how it should be now.
Yeah.
So, but then again, most people it's probably going to be so dialogue intensive and sound effects heavy that people probably won't notice. We'll see. Or
We're
maybe
gonna-
whoever does it will be great. I mean, there's plenty of great people out there.
Or maybe they just reuse the music that they had before, because they're bringing a lot of the older cast back, and it's going to focus basically on Storm and Magneto rebuilding the X-Men team.
Right.
So on that much. So I don't even know where they're going to go with the 97. Like, how are you going to continue the X-Men from where it left off?
I can answer that. Previously on X-Men, and that's all you need to do.
That would be great.
There we go.
Chris, you missed your cue.
Maybe that'll be the whole thing. It'll be a 20-minute episode, and the first 17 minutes will be the recap from the 90s.
That's it.
Dude, you know, like when if they say that in the show, I'm just gonna like, even if they've already started, I'm just gonna jump in late on that. I'm just gonna be like, Lee on X-Men. Yes, I missed it.
Yeah.
That's funny. Speaking of, I want to switch right back to Power Rangers. The scores from Once and Always, but did you also score Cosmic Fury?
No.
Okay.
The last time I worked on the show was the SPD theme in 2005.
So that's why it was the only cool season theme that we had then, because everything
Thank
else
you.
remix of your music. Literally, since then on, it's been Go Samurai, then Go Mega Force, and then Go so on and so on.
A total lack of originality on those
And
things.
imagination. Mm-hmm.
Now, they may have been pushed into a corner and told, this is what you're going to do. So I don't know where the blame lies. That does happen. I mean, I hear it in scores when I'm watching a film. I'm like, there's no fucking way this guy would have scored this way. But you could just picture him throwing up his hands at a certain point. I've done that on some unknown projects and just said, Okay, fine. Why don't you just tell me everything that you want? I'll just do exactly what you want. I'll be your hands.
Yeah, I hate when the suits and the investors and all them try to control the creativity, especially when you hire me for a job because you want me to do
Mhm.
my job that you hired me for.
Yeah.
Let me fucking do it.
But those things never
Executive
succeeded.
meddling. Executive
I think
meddling, bro.
someone would agree with you, Darrell, but she's working.
Oh, I know. This is why me and Lou always like this. We always like this.
Yeah.
Man.
But ultimately, those times, the more control they've exerted over anything I've done, the less successful the show's been.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, th-
just an interesting fact. I'm not saying it's because I have the brilliant thing. It's just it represents that there's a group of people trying to control
oh yeah.
the writer too much
Mhm.
and the animator too much or whatever, the actors too much. Everything is just so micromanaged that it becomes kind of vanilla and boring
Boom. Exactly.
because everybody loses their oomph. They just wake up the next day and go, I wonder, well, what do you want me to do
Yeah.
today?
Micromanaging is just never good. It's never good. It never works.
No, you hire people to do what they do.
Oh yeah.
And that's something I wasn't even aware of till God knows how many decades ago. I think I was reading on something up on Spielberg, who hires the cinematographer because he loves it. Yeah, he's there working with them, but it's a discussion. It's not an order
Hmm.
Mhm.
all the time. So, and you've got to hire great people to do what they do.
Okay, I have a question for you because for myself trying to get into creating scores like that for like smaller films and stuff, do you create your own contractual obligations for per se Marvel? Say, okay, we want you to score the next movie. Can you put in your own stipulations like I want creative control over here or over there, or just have to do exactly what they say?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly the note you would get back from the lawyer if you ever wrote that. It'd be like, thank you very much for your time, Mr. Wasserman.
Right. 'Cause it's like,
The only
okay,
thing I
What?
ever do is I've gone through and redlined errors
okay,
that because the contracts are all basically the same.
right,
You're doing this, you're going to own this part of it. We as in television and film, we're taking the publishing. We own all rights throughout perpetuity. You can't discuss it with anybody. You can never release it. I mean, it's very, very binding. And
yeah,
if somebody sues us because they thought you plagiarized something, you're responsible for it. We are not. You hold us free of all liability. I mean,
Damn.
they're very much in a company's favor.
right,
I,
okay. Oh, go
I
ahead. I'm
guess
But
sorry.
I
that
found mistakes. Uh,
I guess that brings up an interesting question about since there was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers soundtrack sort of
sort of.
that came out. What do you think about the Redux that popped up? Was that your doing or was
Oh,
that
yeah, that was me. I wanted to see, I had some free time and I wanted to see if I could still hit those high notes on the theme because I hadn't really sung. I'd done some stuff, but I hadn't really sung with that intensity
Mm,
since SPD. So it was just kind of an experiment. So I banged out a verse and a chorus and recorded myself and went, I sound the same. Okay, I'm going to recut the theme for fun. I did that and then I went, well, back in the day, the Rock Adventure album was going to be only songs. But
mm.
since the music was being blamed by so many parents for causing their kids to be violent, they had me dumb it down. They gave me a ton of just I remember hours of dialogue and said just put in some dialogue over it to soften it up.
Okay.
And so Redux was finally my way of saying, well, you don't even have the master to the old stuff. So I'm just going to do the songs.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was just fun. And I really got into it. It was really, some points it was pretty difficult to ape exactly what I had done. The only thing that really changed up were the guitar solos.
Okay.
because some of those were done piece by piece on the fly with guitar players. Like, just play. Like, I love that first two measures. Okay, let's do another take. And then I would just comp them together. We were still on tape. So you just punch in, you take a bit here, you take a measure there. So they actually play those things. Yeah, I wasn't going to put anybody through the hell of learning them. Plus, that was the one thing I wanted to show was different, because so many people thought, what the hell is this? It's just the original stuff remastered. And I said, well, put them up against each other. They're the same tempo, same key, and then you'll hear it's complete different. There's a lot of stuff that's different.
I'm excited now. I mean, the 30th anniversary is coming up. I know you can't say nothing, but I'm excited.
It's mind-boggling to me. It definitely feels like it was a long time ago. I hate the math. 30 years. I hate that.
So I have a question since we talked about the music, because I actually still own the Rock Adventure, which was one of my first kind of albums when I was a kid and absolutely loved it. If Hasbro gave the green light and just release the music, will we get a Rock Adventure 2 or Redux 2, which would have all the score from the Once and Always?
Well, I'm going to, after it comes out and after I see what's going on with comments and whatnot, I think they will be more than happy, because everything's named, everything's sequenced, everything is separated. So it really would be as simple as having them come up with the artwork for it, or just saying use the logo for the new show and releasing it.
Yes.
So I do plan to ask them, because there's I like a lot of it. A lot of it is worthy of being released and be fun to do. And they'll make a few more, but I don't know why they would say no.
Yeah, because that's one thing with all like the morph music, and that's one thing, well, with all music from Power Rangers, is I've never known why they've not released this as like an album. Like if you had the SPD album, it had all the tracks from that one. I know you didn't like work on Dino Thunder, but for one of my favorite morph musics is the Dino Thunder morph music, because I think it's absolutely fantastic. But there's no copies of it anywhere. Like you can try and separate it, and it just sounds like it's underwater. But if they like say if you release this like the Once and Always like score, I think people would buy it straight away. They would literally just be throwing money, especially the hardcore fans. Yeah. I reckon it would be like on iTunes chart or wherever you decide to release it. We'd just be like, "There's our money," just throwing it at the screen.
Yeah,
I just want Hasbro to hear what the fans are saying and what we're putting out there. I know they're going through an internal struggle right now with Hasbro E1 and all that, but it's a 30th anniversary, and it's the conclusion of Power Rangers as we know, and we don't have an official Rangers audio filmography of the theme music. You're literally here, you know what I mean? Like, you're still able and capable to do this music. Why aren't they reaching out to you to produce the tracks? I mean, we don't have it. It's not that they could release them. I don't understand the business. If y'all really want money, because that's what it's all about, money.
I have never understood the business. I mean, I had more work that I could handle for 25 years, but at the same time, I was always thinking, why doesn't Disney call, besides the theme? I assumed I was doing the score on SPD, but Disney, like Nickelodeon, they have a rule: the theme writer, and this makes no sense, I know, the theme writer can never do the score, and the score people can never write the theme. And Nickelodeon had the same thing. They said, no, we have our theme writers, you're doing the score.
Well, that explains a lot of them.
Exactly. Like, this is why I don't like tour people playing film and TV producers. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, these are just corporate rules.
Right.
But in this case, yeah, I mean, there's no harm. I'll wait a little bit more. We're just under a month now.
And we don't even have a trailer, so I'm pretty sure they're still struggling to even reach out to you for anything.
Yeah, I don't understand why there isn't. Well, actually, the trailer should come out. I thought the stuff that came out on the actors was a little soon.
Yeah.
It's been about a month. I thought that maybe 2 weeks ago would have been good for that.
Yeah, they're still working on. They're still working on your collab with Hans Zimmer, so they got to get that together first.
Right.
But the trailer, I don't get. They should, but I think they're withholding everything.
It sounds like classic Netflix because the trailer's been cut and everything, but Netflix are synonymous for releasing trailers like a week before it comes out.
Yeah.
And if they're leaving it up to Netflix, we ain't gonna see the trailer until a week before it comes out, and that is so dumb to me.
Yeah.
I think it's dumb and kind of a stunt as well because we don't want to spoil it for everyone. Let's release it just
It's a trailer. For us that works, I need to put in my request the time up. I need a trailer. So I can be like, yo, I need to be off on this day. I need it to time in advance.
Yeah. Well,
But-
hopefully they do. Or the trailer will simply be, when you click on the program and the trailer, it shows you the trailer.
Right.
If you decide if you want to watch it.
That was up.
So that is, I don't know. They may do that.
Yeah, that was up.
Or it'll pop up at that very last row coming soon.
5
Yeah.
minutes
Yeah.
before it actually
Yeah,
drops.
5
That's when it
minutes.
is. You're like, oh wow, it's trailer. Now
In
I can
5
watch it.
minutes.
So,
Oh my God.
speaking of corporate shenanigans and contracts and all that fun jazz,
Sure.
what is the cost of music normally? Is it commission work or?
It's an agreed to episodic fee. So it's per episode. And then, like I said, they generally take the publishing rights, half of it, which is, I'm sure they don't take it from John Williams, but just about everybody else loses that part. And so you lose half of the back end on it. And those people have to control, and control and own all rights throughout the universe in perpetuity.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what it really comes down to. The only time they didn't even cave, they just gave it to me as I scored a film for Samuel Golden Mare, sequel rom-com that came out in February called Stars Fell Again, and that one they let me retain all rights.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. Oh, it's gone. Okay. So
Welcome to my world.
You work for Hasbro.
So what do you think's made Power Rangers like so popular? Because we started back in '93, and now we're coming up to the 30th year it's been going on. What do you think has kept the franchise going, or what do you think has made it so special?
Well, it was the only thing like it to ever come out back in the 90s, and others have tried to get close, but nothing beats the original. So
True.
the Power Rangers franchise is kind of like the Rolling Stones. It just has its own thing, and it just keeps going and going and going and going.
Okay.
It's interesting that it's changed hands so many times. I mean, Saban, Disney, back to Saban, to Hasbro.
And now to Jonathan Entwistle and Netflix.
Cool. And then one last question for me anyway is we've grown up with like your music and everything, and our childhood dreams, like childhood stuff from Power Rangers. What were you into as a child? Like what your TV shows or media that you consumed when you were a child?
My music tastes were completely diverse. So I was very much into
NWA.
Yeah. That was a conversation I had with somebody the other night.
You from LA, I already know.
Oh yeah. So yeah, other people were not stuck, but other people I knew in bands, they only listened to a certain genre. I mean, I grew up listening to whatever basic rock I could find on the radio. We were too piss poor to have many records or anything. So I had FM radio and I'd get stuff. I had cassette recorder. I'd record it. I'd just ear it out and learn it. But I was very much into, going in my teen years. I was sitting over one summer and almost made it through the whole thing, Rhapsody in Blue. I was a huge Gershwin fan. So I wanted to conquer that and play that piece. But at the same time, I'd be in the car blasting Black Sabbath or Jethro Tull or the Beach Boys. Or
Oh,
I mean,
I know the Beach Boys.
yeah, it's been all over the map. But stuff that had a majority of it was guitar driven stuff.
Wow.
So that's your go-to instrument.
Yeah, even though I can't play it, it's my go-to. I mean, I wish I could play guitar. I
Same.
tried. I just, you grow up playing piano. I've been doing it since I was 3. I just don't have that grip and that dexterity. I'm so used to this.
The memorization is what gets me all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to remember that.
I have one question for you. So I know you fell in love with music when you were 3, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and you knew that you wanted to work in it not long after that. And that is really cool, knowing what you want to do, knowing your drive and your path from that early on. For anybody who's still trying to find their creative path or what they want to do in the space, do you have any advice for them at all?
Everybody has something that they either believe or dream about or would rather be doing when they're young. They're sitting in school and they're thinking, God, it would be so much better. I was very much into photography too. So it was a toss up between the two because I knew nothing about the music business and nobody in it. And photographer seemed like, well, if I'm good at that, I could at least, there's a job at a newspaper or something. But everybody's got something they're passionate about, something that they enjoy doing in their free time or wish they could do. And that's that little part of your gut that's letting you know what you probably should focus on and pursue. Because if you can make a living at it, they say you'll never work again. It's still work, but it's a lot better than being stuck in something you despise.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's got a talent.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
With that being said, we really appreciate that advice. And you being here and just sharing your time and your experiences and being transparent with us here.
Always.
We really appreciate you. We really do appreciate you.
Definitely.
We want to
Thank
give
you.
you your flowers here
Yeah.
because you've been in this business and industry for a long time.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you.
Yeah, and it's the industry is growing in kind of a beautiful way. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of great stuff. The technology is made, stuff that would have looked average at best, pretty spectacular now. So I like where it's at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I like no commercials.
Oh no, I love commercials. I miss the jingles.
Yeah, well, I did a lot of them, and then that business just got very cheap as well. But it's kind of funny. It's just the way that business goes. But the first time I really watched commercials in quite a while was the Super Bowl, and I'm like, nothing's changed. They're still paying all this money and trying to be funny about selling me a cheese puff, and it's still, I mean, they've not. Some of them were really quite brilliant.
They should have had Rihanna eating some cheese puffs.
The one with the guys from Breaking Bad. That was my favorite commercial on there. I think it was Cheetos.
Yeah. I know that one.
But yeah, it's I don't understand what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Paying that much. Super Bowl, I get it. But on average, and the networks have more and more and more and more commercials during the show and product placement because they are going broke because they have too many restrictions. They can't keep up with the Netflix and Amazon Prime and Disney and Paramount.
Okay. So sorry. I got a message.
Same,
My mind
same.
says, "Caw," like a little deer. But we appreciate you here. You are
Yeah, man.
definitely welcome back anytime to chat about whatever you want to, because I would love
Cool.
to pick your brain, especially about the creation part of music and
Sure.
things like that.
Sure.
But with
Yeah,
that
that'd be a
being
great conversation
said,
to have.
yes. Oh, you wanted to say something real quick?
Oh, I was just gonna do the ending note whenever we close out the recording.
Go ahead, close out. Let's go. Let's do our classic ending.
Ba-ba-da-ba-da-da-da. Ba-ba.
Bye.